Hey guys, and welcome to the RedMC overview. I'm going to give you an idea of how RedMC if file editing works and compare it to the 2KX tool and the 3DM mod tools that we've been using for years. So if you load it up at RedMC, just like the raster editor part of the tool, exactly the same kind of setup. Let's go ahead and load up a global file. And as you can see, this is kind of how the tool excuse me, looks. It's just like I guess with the rosters, a little bit different of course, but for the most part it's the same. So as you can see, we click over here, we can see textures, we can see some animations, some scene files, some layout files, and anything and everything in between. Global, probably not the most concise file to work with, but it is something that I know that a lot of people work with. You can sort it. You can sort the different fields by name, or the columns, I should say. So if you want to find like chest normal, here we go. Here are the chest normals for the different types of chests, the sweat, and you can still use search. So let's say we want to find how about shirt, and we can go by the name. We can search up and search down. There's the Motboy FX tweakables. There's the shirt colorized. This is the shirt that we use for my players on the PC version because we only get one, and normal for that. And the shirt sleeves are right there too. So it's a really easy way just to kind of look at it. Now, if you have used the 2KX tool, that means you usually have to decompress the file first. And unfortunately, when you decompress the file, you lose these names. And just to give an example of that, I'm going to load up a decompressed global. So as you can see, instead of having our great names here, we instead have file 1 through file 1131. Awesome. So yeah, if you really want to, you can go ahead and control click name, press copy, go over here and press paste, and then if you save it, you can it will save all these names in here. Now, the main thing to remember when editing with RedMC is that when you save this file with RedMC, it will no longer open in the 2KX or the 3DM mod tools. So if I hit save here on the global decompress, wait for it to finish saving. Let's go over to tools. Let's load up the 3DM and the 2KX mod tools. Let's go ahead and open global decompress, can't open. And global decompress is compressed. Can't open it. So it's just the way that Vlad's got it set up. We can't open them in other tools. It will still work in game, of course, and that's a good thing. And as you can see, the other basic layout of the program, we have export as DDS, export as PNG, and imports, and we can import the different file types and all that fun stuff. We can also, for scene files and other quote-unquote unsupported files, export the files as a RedMC export file, and we can also import these, so we can take things and flip them around. One great thing to do with the global is if you have the 2K13 global available to you, search for I think it's ref player or player ref. There it is. There's one right by it. Ref play. This is actually reflection player. And I don't know if you remember with 2K14, the reflections always have a t-shirt uniform on, a sleeved uniform on, instead of the regular sleeveless uniform. So what you can do with 2K13's global is right-click this, because it does work for 2K13 and other if files. Right-click this, go to export files, save it, right-click it, if we open up the 2K14 global, go to import replace file, and import it, and that's it. It's a different size, so it doesn't really work with regular hex editing. But that's a great thing to finally have fixed, and I'll make sure that I have my global with that fixed released. So, there's a general idea of RedMC and how it works. Let's do some direct comparisons with the other tools. So as you can see here, I have floor files, cyberface files, stadium files, uniform files, and the ball texture. Let's start with the ball. So let's open up the ball, and as always with 2KX tool, you have to decompress first, and it creates a little backup for you. And let's open up the ball. So as you can see here with RedMC, we just have a ball and a scene file. Scene files have extra data in them, like a model or something else, or they're just a bunch of files put together. The best way to visualize this is with the 2KX tool. As you can see, we have the ball here, and then we have subfiles. So scene is how RedMC handles the subfiles. And to edit these textures, we have to go to Export Embed Textures, save them somewhere. Let's go to the desktop, make a new folder. And if we minimize everything, go to New Folder. As you can see, we now have textures here to edit. Then with the 3DM tool, as you can see, it just grabs all the textures and brings them out to be seen. So you can see that that's how the scene files work, and these things are shown up a lot in stadiums and in floor files too. And the great thing with RedMC is that you can actually open up everything you want at once. Up to 10 files at a time you can have open, and you can just flip through them as you wish. So as you can see with the stadium file, we have a couple scene files, like the arena. The entire arena is a scene file, so you can export the textures. And with these textures, you can resize them here and resave them. And then you just keep them as the same name. Re-imports, I'll go over that in a different tutorial. And there are some textures here, like the crowd color, like the shading on the crowd. And where's the other important one? Crowd walker lighting. This is what adds shadows to the court for the players to step through for like street court and stuff, or when they get really dark when they get off the court into like the shadows and stuff. Really cool stuff. And then I think we know how 3DM tool doesn't support stadiums. Yep, just crashes. And the 2KX tool decompress, of course. And as you can see, the 2KX tool does not actually support the RGBA files. It comes up as BIMP. So that's a little difference between the two there. So that's actually supported, but then of course the 2KX tool can go through all the stadium textures without having to export them first. Let's go over to the floor file. As you can see, we have the floor normal, which is again an RGBA, not completely supported by the 2KX tool, and then the floor scene file, which we can export embedded textures. I'll make a new folder inside the new folder. Go Inception on this sucker. And as you can see, we have all of our floor textures here now, which again, we can edit with GIMP or Photoshop, resize, do what we want with, and re-import in. And we can go ahead and open up the floor here, and we can see the actual textures, and we can get the model. There it is. And as you can see, there is no actual model editing supported by RedMC at this time. That will come later, but just not right now. And let's go ahead and open up the floor in the 2KX tool, just so you can get the general idea of the differences between all three of them. And there's our different parts for the model seen in the 2KX tool. Then we go over to the Cyberface file. I don't know who 46 is. Let's see if we can find out. Yeah, I don't know who that is. But as you can see, we have the textures here and a couple of scene files, which are the model files for the Cyberface. So as we know, that's how it looks in RedMC. Let's go ahead and load it up in the 3DM tool, get the same general idea. Whoops, misclicking. And then of course we have actual model support there. And if we open up the ping file in the 3DM or in the 2KX tool, as you can see, the textures are not properly supported. They're off center, so we can't use this for editing, but we can use it for model editing. It's all these catch-22s, and that's why it's nice to have RedMC, especially once it gets model editing. It's really going to be the complete suite that we need. So finally, uniforms. And uniforms, as we can see, we have our spec uniforms, which is the actual textures. We have the bump map textures, and then we have a bunch of other stuff like where are the numbers? Number texture right there, and name texture right there. And then we can also go into these and hit edit here, and we actually change where each number begins and ends. So if we want to import a custom number that has a 0 It's only this narrow. You can change that and save that. It's really helpful for converting over to different uniforms. And actually, with that scene export and import, this jersey floor scene right here is what controls the numbers on the uniform. Not really good for hex editing, and maybe Vlad could figure it out for exact positioning of the numbers, but it's within this scene file. So we finally found that, which is awesome. Let's go over to the 3DM tool and just show you how uniforms work here. And it's the same general thing. All the textures load up, and that's all there really is. And this one does support importing and exporting the numbers. And then you open up with the 2KX tool, as I'm sure most of us know, not supported with the textures in the uniform file, except for the warm-up, which is unfortunate. So yeah, that's basically it. As you can see here, we have the file ID right here for warm-ups. You can see that here in the 2KX tool. And this is actually the offset of where it is in the file. It's nice to have a consistent tool that's going to work for everyone. Because I know the 2KX tool doesn't work for a lot of people on Windows 8 or who have Java issues. 3DM tools in Chinese, that's a little bit more difficult. So it's nice to have a tool in English, consistently works, consistently powerful, and especially since you can just go ahead and just load up a roster right next to it. And that makes making custom portraits and all that kind of fun really easy. But that's going to do it for the basic overview. I should have more detailed tutorials on my channel along with this. Definitely check out the thread at the NLSC with all of my tutorials in it for the general database. There's also a playlist with all my tutorials in just one big playlist. But that's basically all I got for you for the overview of RedMC. Time to get specific with the stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys find the tool useful, and I will see you in the next video.